Welcome to the World Cetacean Alliance's third stop on our virtual whale world tour, Dana Point, California. I'm welcoming with us today Gisele Anderson from Captain Dave's Dolphin and Whale Safari, as well as Donna Kalez from Dana Wharf Sportfishing and Whale Watching. How are you two doing today?
Great. Really glad to be here.
Really good,
Awesome.
Amanda.
And you're both in Dana Point, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Awesome. So I'm calling in or watching from New Zealand, participating from New Zealand. I see we have 6 other people watching today. We'd love to hear where you're at in the world. If you're in California, if you're maybe in the UK. I know we have a few people from the UK tuning in, even though it's very late at night there. So today we have this wonderful chance to go ahead and meet our partners at Dana Point in Dana Point, California. On tonight's itinerary, we will take a few short stops before we get to our main destination. So our first stop will be just a quick introduction to the WCA, what we do and why we do it. And as always, this really centers around our incredible partners like the two of you. So today we're going to give you a quick, and then after that, we're going to give you a quick overview of Dana Point, where the heck it is in the world, and we'll go into that in more detail with the two of you as well. Finally, after we do that quick overview, we will reach our final destination, which is getting to hear from the two of you about everything that you do in Dana Point, all of your awesome tales and the cool things that you do. So let's go ahead and start talking a little bit more about the WCA and our mission. Oh, but before that, we have a few comments here. So we have somebody from Oregon, from the American Cetacean Society. Hello, it's great to see you joining us. And it looks like maybe somebody from Massachusetts. Is that what I see, Cindy, that you're calling in from Massachusetts? So beautiful. Awesome.
Hello, Cindy.
Hello, Cindy.
And that might be Joy from the ACS there too. So wonderful that you're able to join us. We also have this recorded, so you'll be able to see it later as well. So let's take a little bit deeper dive into the WCA. So the World Cetacean Alliance, the first thing to know is what cetacean means. Cetacean simply means whales, dolphins, and porpoises. So if you love these marine mammals, you can sound fancy by calling them cetaceans. At the WCA, we are on a mission to serve as the voice and protector of whales, dolphins, and porpoises throughout the world. Now, we do this by having a connected community of people with expertise, capacity, and resources to create change. We have over 140 partners in 35 countries across the world, and our greatest strength really is our partnership. At the WCA, we give nonprofits, scientists, activists, concerned citizens, and businesses a way to work together and communicate. If you're interested in becoming a partner, please check out our site to learn more. We picture a future world where all dolphins, whales, and porpoises can be free, a world where oceans are thriving and communities care. This is really our vision. We work towards this goal through programs like Dolphins Aren't Discard, where we take on issues related to super trawler bycatch, responsible whale watching certifications, and our whale heritage sites. Now, I personally found the WCA through their responsible whale watching certification program, and as a tourist, that allowed me to see a vast network of certified whale watching and dolphin companies that operate with those best international practices. Our whale heritage sites are another way we support our communities and our cetacean friends. Now, these sites empower and defend the right for local communities to care and protect whales, dolphins, and porpoises through a collaborative management partnership. With 5 certified sites so far, like Dana Point, we're helping to preserve that rich connection, with our communities and our cetaceans. So the WCA has been super excited to see all the ways Dana Point has connected to their cetacean friends, and Gisele and Donna are going to tell us so much more about that in just a few minutes here. For those of you that may not be familiar with California or Dana Point's just a small beachside community in Southern California, right between LA and San Diego. It is a perfect weekend getaway for Californians and a wonderful stop for anybody traveling to California. Now, I'm originally from Bakersfield, California, so Dana Point was definitely a weekend trip that I took a couple times, and it still sticks with me, the beautiful weather and the ocean side. It was just a lovely place to stay, a little haven in such a busy part of the world. Now, there's a ton of airports there too. So if you're flying in, you've got LA, you've got San Diego, but you've got Burbank and Long Beach and all of these wonderful ways to get to Dana Point. So let's go ahead and jump to what we're really here today to hear more from Donna and Gisele. And before we do that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the WCA and this wonderful whale heritage site that's come into fruition at Dana Point.
This is Dana Point in Southern California. The waters here are home to over 450,000 dolphins and a variety of whales, which are celebrated every year in the world's first and longest running whale festival. In 2021, Dana Point became one of a select few locations in the world to achieve Whale Heritage Site status, marking it as an outstanding place where people celebrate, respect, and protect cetaceans and their habitats.
Giving that credibility to Dana Point will mean so much to our community because it will help them understand that this is what defines Dana Point. And it is a powerful and unique thing that very few places in the world can lay claim to.
The Whale Heritage Sites program is an initiative created by the World Cetacean Alliance and supported by World Animal Protection. It recognizes unique places around the world where humans and cetaceans exist in harmony, and empowers local communities to work together for the benefit of whales, dolphins, and the environment they share with these amazing animals. As well as Dana Point in the Americas, there are whale heritage sites in Algoa Bay and the Bluff in South Africa, Hervey Bay in Australia, and Tenerife-La Gomera Marine Area in Spain. To achieve Whale Heritage Site status, each location needs to demonstrate its commitment to building a positive relationship with cetaceans through education, research, conservation, culture, and other collaborative efforts.
It's critical for us to be accredited as a Whale Heritage Site because tourists, they want to know that they are supporting tour operators that are looking after the interests of the whales and dolphins in their area.
Gaining accreditation has opened up new opportunities for the sites through increased tourism and investment, as well as delivering environmental and social benefits, like bringing together a diverse range of stakeholders.
Para nosotros que cuando nos dijeron que teníamos una certificación fue un momento muy emotivo porque ha sido un proceso muy largo donde muchas personas hemos trabajado mucho porque veíamos que era una iniciativa muy bonita con mucho poder de cambiar muchas cosas y llevó mucho tiempo, mucho trabajo y muy contentos de que nos lo hayan dado y opinen como nosotros que lo que tenemos aquí es un tesoro que vale la pena poner todo el esfuerzo para preservarlo.
The Whale Heritage Sites program is creating positive ripples across the globe, helping cetaceans and communities to thrive and supporting tourists to make responsible choices. To find out more about Whale Heritage Sites, including how to apply for accreditation, go to whaleheritagesites.org.
Beautiful. So now we get to hear from the two of you, the stars of that video, Donna and Gisele. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We're so happy to be here to talk about Dana Point. Dana Point. Okay, so I'll start, and Gisele, you can just jump in. So Dana Point is the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world. And we were able to trademark this in 2019. And from then we went on to become a Whale Heritage Site in 2021. So we're going to talk to you all about how we became that and why Dana Point is so special.
Exactly. So in coming together as two competitors, Donna and I really felt that working together would just get us so much more. And it's really been a fun experience to do that, putting ourselves on the same side of the table. And the trademarking was a big step in that direction. Then when Donna said, you know, I would love to be a World Heritage Site, and we first met with Dylan, and who was the founder of World Cetacean Alliance, and he explained the vision for how they were looking for communities, and this is the way he put it. He said, I'm looking for places where when you step foot in that community, you just know that they love dolphins and whales, that they respect dolphins and whales, they celebrate them. It's evident with the art that you see all around you, with the activities and events that they schedule throughout the year. It's evident in the tour operators and the responsible whale watching practices that they keep. It's evident with research, with history, perhaps some kind of link to their heritage and maybe some Aboriginal people groups. So he said, that's what I'm looking for. And I was like, wow, that's us. So let's do this. So Donna was right. It was a perfect fit.
And a lot of people say, what is a whale heritage site? So I'm just going to read this because it is really important to know, because it fits Dana Point to a T. A whale heritage site is an outstanding location where cetaceans, whales, dolphins, or porpoise are embraced through the cultural, economic, social, and political lives of associated communities, and where people and cetaceans coexist in an authentic and respectful way. So that is us in a nutshell. And we were so excited when I first met Dylan, like Gisele said, through WCA, World Cetacean Alliance, which was actually in Boston, Massachusetts. So yay, Cindy, so happy to see you on here. I learned all about World Cetacean Alliance. And then it was, you know, a few years later where they came out with this whale heritage site idea. And I, as a responsible whale watching company, and Gisele, as a responsible whale watching company, could not apply to be a whale heritage site. You need your whole community. You need all of your partners. And we have a wonderful steering committee, and everybody loves whales and dolphins in our community. So it just was a natural, and we're so excited that we achieved that status. So next slide. Okay, so we talked about what whale heritage sites are. So now we're going to really go into what makes Dana Point so special. So go to the next slide. Go ahead, Gisele. Explain about our dolphins and what qualifies us as a Dana Point dolphin and whale watching capital.
What qualifies us as the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world? Well, to start with, on the next slide, we have over 450,000 dolphin off the coast of Southern California and in Baja. And what that means is that you can go out pretty much any day of the year and see at least one species of dolphin, in this case, longbeak or shortbeak common dolphin. And the pod sizes range from, you know, a handful all the way up to 10,000. And so our average size pod is probably 400, which is a lot of dolphin. And they're amazing. It's not unusual to see a pod over there and a pod over there and a pod over there. And then they kind of converge and then they break up again. And it's really fantastic. It was what enabled Dana Point to make the Dolphin Stampede videos famous, because we have a dolphin stampede at least once a week. And it is breathtaking to see dolphins. To see dolphins, they're just hanging out, and then suddenly it's like they heard a lunch bell, and they all kind of pick up and they just start flying through the water in a behavior that is actually called porpoising. And it's so much fun, and it looks just like that. It looks like kind of what's behind me here, which is right in front of the Dana Point headland. So we love these dolphin. People come to see whales, and we'll talk about that, but they stay and I think come back because of the dolphins.
Right. Okay, we also, as you know, some of you maybe don't, but we have year-round whale watching, and this includes the blue whales, which is the largest animal to ever exist on the planet, and we are currently seeing them right now. It's probably the fifth or sixth best season we've ever had for blue whales. We also see fin whales, which is the second largest whale on the planet. We have gray whales, which is right here. That is in my picture frame. We have humpback whales. We have minke whales. So we see year-round whales. Gray whales are really what made our area famous and what everyone knows about the gray whales. They are on their way in November to go down to the bays and lagoons in Mexico. And so we see those whales, and pretty much a lot of people know famous gray whales. And then when we see them in January, February, March, they're coming back from Baja. But we have year-round whales, the humpbacks, the fin whales, the minke whales. It's a tremendous amount of whale watching here in Dana Point.
Yeah, it's excellent. And it's not unusual to have what we call a trifecta day, where we have several species of whales all at the same time. And that's really fun. So one of the best places in the world to see blue whales, like this gorgeous guy, is here in Southern California. And starting at about 2002, we started seeing them. It went from just a few a season all the way up to almost 1,000 in a season. And as Donna said earlier, it was probably our fifth or sixth best season since then. It's been spectacular. And we've had several at a time right within 2 or 3 miles of shore. So it's been amazing. And blue whales, of course, are the biggest animal that's ever lived on the planet, bigger than the dinosaurs. And they are just an amazing creature to see in person. They generally are 80 to 90 feet. They can get bigger, but around here, that's about the sizes that we see them. And our whale watching boats, our biggest whale watching boats between the two of us are about 65 feet. And that is not as big as a blue whale. So when we do launch the drone and we see that animal from the air and we see how small we are in awe.
It's pretty amazing. And we also see, so not only do we see all the things we just talked about, we also see a plethora of rare whales. So we can see orcas, and they're also known as killer whales. They will come to our area. We never know when an orca will show up. So when the pods of orcas do show up, that is when everybody comes out and goes. They could be here for 2 days. They could be here one day. They could be here next week. We don't really know. So that's very exciting and thrilling. We also have pilot whales, sperm whales, false killer whales. There has been some sperm whales just off our coast this year. So that's very exciting. We have the Brutus whale, which is much like a fin whale. And that's been something that we've really been seeing a lot more of. It's just very exciting to be out here and to see all these different whales. We can go out and see a pod of 3 blue whales, and we can see 2 fin whales. We could have a minke whale, which is the smallest whale. He can come right up to the boat. We can be out there and see all of these things on one day. And we did talk about the dolphins. Besides the common dolphin, we have bottlenose dolphin and Pacific white-sided dolphin. It's pretty amazing to be a cetacean in Dana Point. Lots of friends.
So one of the other things that's amazing about this beautiful harbor is that it's smaller. So it only takes 8 to 10 minutes to get out of the harbor from the furthest end. And that means if you're on a whale watching trip, you're not spending a huge amount of time just inside the harbor. You're out on the right on the ocean, and you've got this great easy access. It is not unusual to see whales right from, if you're looking at this picture here, the jetty to the right, we see gray whales right as we come out of it. And occasionally, almost every year, we have a gray whale or two pop down the channel and come on into the harbor to say hello. So it's a beautiful little harbor, and it's very whale friendly.
Yes, it's open right to the whales. Okay, Gisele, this is you too.
Nope, I'm the next one.
Oh, okay. So we already talked about that we have the best year-round whale watching, but we also have the best year-round weather. So our weather is, I can't say enough about it. It's very, very nice. It's a microclimate. If by chance we do get rain, it goes away very quickly and people are back out on the water and enjoying the beautiful weather. Unlike many other locations, Dana Point usually has moderate weather and mild ocean conditions throughout the year. So what that means is that our waters are generally pretty calm. We have a very small fraction of trips that we cancel due to rough seas. So, and our customers, they don't like rough seas. So when we cancel, it has to be pretty rough. So we're very, very fortunate to be able to get out of the harbor within 5 minutes and start looking for whales and dolphins. And if you look at behind Gisele, that is where we actually see, that's our headlands, and that's where we see a lot of our animals right there. So there's a dolphin stampede. So we're very fortunate and we love our weather.
Yep. So this is one of my favorite slides because it demonstrates how unique Dana Point is. So you're looking here at the coastline of the Los Angeles, Orange County area here. And this is specifically Orange County. And right about in the middle of that landmass jutting out is Dana Point. And you can see it's pointing almost towards a underwater mountain. And that underwater mountain actually helps block a lot of the waves, which makes it even better to go out of Dana Point because we don't have some of these big, massive waves that some of the destinations north and south of us experience. But the thing that makes us really special is that you can see how it gets very deep where the ocean is darker. You can see it gets very deep right there, right off of Dana Point. If you go further up the coast, the next harbor up is in a much shallower area. So you have to there's a gradual decline. But where we are, within a mile and a half of the harbor entrance, we're in these deep coastal canyons. And where you have these deep coastal canyons, you have cold water. When you have cold water, you have this rich nutrient upwelling, and you have plankton, and where you have plankton, you have little fish that like the plankton, and where you have little fish, bigger fish, and where you have them, you have lots and lots of dolphin. And so, and whales, because some whales like humpback whales love to feed on that kind of fish. Krill can be part of that upwelling. So it's just this fabulous smorgasbord for these animals, and it's right there. So the majority of our trips for both our companies, we don't go much further than 4 or 5 miles, and our trips are 2 to 2.5 hours long, and that's plenty of time to get you out there. The harbor's really small. Get you out there and spend the majority of your time out on the water seeing the animals, which is where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. And unlike other Southern California harbors, Dana Point has no towering buildings. We don't have oil rigs. We don't have, so when we wrote this, we did not have large ships off our coast. We didn't have container ships of that kind. But now, since we have a little bit different things going on, we have a little bit more. But generally, we don't have any of that that distorts the whale watcher's sense of the pristine and spectacular encounters. So when you're in the harbor, we don't have views of anything except spectacular ocean.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So this is really fun, and it's a tribute to Donna's father, Don Hansen, who did pass away earlier this year. But he had an idea over 50 years ago to start a whale festival, and it has been held annually, and it has become the oldest. It's the world's first and longest consecutive running whale festival. And it's usually a 2-weekend event. It has dozens of activities going on, art and all kinds of fun things, educational opportunities, speakers, and of course, lots and lots of whale watching. And we're just really thankful that Donna's dad and the whole family started this fabulous tradition that really has made Dana Point quite famous.
Yes, with my father, when he moved his business to Dana Point Harbor, he immediately got involved and started the Festival of Whales. And we were able to celebrate the 50th anniversary. And the Festival of Whales is an amazing community experience that brings together everyone. And to celebrate the migration of the California gray whale, it's always been in March. It's the first 2 weekends in March. Now it's the first weekend in March, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's always been a celebration. But now we celebrate all whales. And he was very smart because he called it the Festival of Whales. And he didn't call it the Festival of Gray Whales, which a lot of people ask. And I'm like, you know what? Like, he was a pioneer and he always thought about the future. And I'm very proud that he was able to be with us for the 50th anniversary. And then for him to be able to see Gisele and I do the trademarking of the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world. And he got to come to a lot of our things and then to go on and have the third whale heritage site but the first in the Americas was very big sense of pride for him. So thank you very much.
So part of our responsibility as a World Heritage Site is to do things. And so together we have accomplished a number of initiatives, and we have more that we are going to try and accomplish in the future, but we thought we would share with you some of the things that we have been able to do.
Yes, adopt a highway. So in our community, we have 6 adopt a highway signs on and off the freeways, and they say Dana Point World's Whale Capital. And it also is an initiative to keep the area clean of debris. So we sponsor that so that we keep the community free of litter. And it's a beautiful thing. And we get to talk about Dana Point being the world's whale capital.
Yeah. And one of the things that, we all do know is that trash tends to run off and it all pours into these waterways. And we have one right here next to the Dana Point Harbor. And so we want to keep our trash where trash belongs, not running into the ocean during one of our unusual storms. So this was part of that process and thought process in keeping our oceans clean.
Right.
So this Be Whale Safe is something that is not our program, but it is something that we've adopted here. And so what we have done is try to educate and encourage private boaters to also adopt this kind of a process. So this is just, no head-on approaching of whales. And I have to say that I think for the most part, between the community's efforts, their respect of the animals, maybe we reach out to some of the yacht clubs as well as through our Dana Point Harbor Association, and we offer, and it's online, a whale watching success program where they can just kind of learn how to find animals as well as learn how to respectfully approach them. Right. People are great. For the most part, people are so great. And when they see our boats out there, they communicate and they file back behind our boats, knowing that we're not getting if we're not close, they shouldn't be close either. And so they tend to stay either alongside of us or behind us. And that makes such a big difference in keeping down the traffic around these animals so that they don't care. I mean, a lot of times these animals are coming over to us, so they're looking for interaction, and they really enjoy. They seem to be so curious, and they really enjoy the experience. But for those that are maybe migrating or engaged in feeding behavior, something like that, they're really not interested. We want to make sure that we don't do anything that's going to impact their behavior. This is a great program to make that happen.
Right. And I would just say, see a whale, go slow. See a blow, go slow. Like, we really try to tell people that when they see our boats, they do slow down. They know we're with a whale. And so these type of things get the word out for when we're not out there and we can't help be stewards of the ocean. So thank you for that. That's good. Really good. So be whale safe, everyone. Oh, this is a great one. So on our mission to reduce plastic waste, we have this initiative for water boxes instead of water bottles. Both Gisele and I, with the Dolphin and Whale Watching Capital of the World, we have committed to buy 20,000 of these paper water cartons, and they're wonderful. The only piece of plastic on them is the cap. That's the only thing. So if you think about how many water bottles you go through a day, and we tried to tell people, you know, if you're coming here to go whale watching, we even tried at our Festival of Whales, we tried to have water stations, but people do not have water bottles with them. If you're on vacation, that's a hard thing to remember. And so this is our initiative to reduce plastic waste. And so far, so good. We've gone through probably 6,000 in cartons, and more on the way. So
I think we're up to 10 now.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting there.
Good.
This is the Balloons Blow, Don't Let Them Go program. One of the things that we experience out on the ocean is a lot of balloon debris. And so both companies have always been proactive about this in terms of picking up balloons that we see. And of course, you know, removing it from the ocean is step one, but step two is using it as an opportunity to educate people. So these mylar balloons in particular, when they're released, the helium, you know, takes them up, and then they go out over the ocean, and then they come down in the ocean, and then the ink and the paint that's on top of them washes off in the salt water, and they become, they look like a clear jellyfish. So they can present a real hazard to animals that feed on jellyfish, Rhesus dolphin, if there were any sea turtles or you know, birds that might be interested. Yeah, so we pick them up as we can, and we use them as an opportunity to educate, and then we've been tracking it. Last year, we picked up over 1,600 balloons, and we did help support an initiative in Laguna Beach to remove the sale of mylar balloons, and we're hopeful that we can do something like that here in Dana Point.
Great. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
1,600 balloons.
And you know what? That is just what we pick
My
up.
gosh.
Obviously, we cannot pick up as many that are
Everything.
out there because we have a 2-hour trip, and we have. But just setting the example to pick up one and explain to people has really gone far.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's just such a large number. I wouldn't have expected that was so massive. My goodness. Well, we also have Betty and Krista that commented here. So Krista had said that she has a business in Dana Point and she loves our town. So
Yay,
that's really
Hey,
cool to
Krista.
join us. Awesome. Fantastic. I know for me, I got so caught up in what you were saying, it was hard to focus on going to that next slide. As a child in Southern California, we went to go whale watching several times, but I never saw a whale. So I am just regretting our decisions to not go to Dana Point to do that, because wow, what an incredible place to immediately get out there and to be able to see so many animals.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
we're very
That's
blessed.
amazing.
Very, very blessed.
And so do you have a lot of kids and families then, I imagine, that go on your tours?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Beautiful.
do. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And we do have a lot
Families.
of people like what you just said, that I have gone whale watching 5 times and I've never seen a whale. You got to keep coming. You got to keep trying, because it will happen. And then it's the most amazing thing that's ever happened in your life. It will change you.
Absolutely. I will agree with that.
When you hear that whale exhale, it's just it's, you know, you realize, wow, I'm a little person. I could never make that. I could never make that kind of noise blowing out my nose. You know, that's amazing. Those animals
Absolutely.
are just so big and beautiful. And when they want to really connect with you on top of that
Mhm.
is, wow, that's just the coolest thing ever. So really
That's
fun.
amazing. And I know you mentioned the SAFE program. Is that the same as the boater education workshop that
Yeah.
you offer?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And you do that once a year, or do you do that?
We do it once a
Yeah.
year. We offer it once a year, but it is online. You can see it at our YouTube channel, Dana Point Whale Watching,
Mhm.
Perfect.
and people can watch it there at their leisure.
Awesome. We'll make sure to drop a link so that people can go ahead and check that out. The other thing that I wanted to highlight that I don't think we talked about here were some of the rescue whale efforts that you've been involved in with NOAA. Can you tell us a little bit about any of those experiences?
Yeah, sure. So Captain Dave was, it started, gosh, I think about 15 years ago now. It doesn't seem possible, but we had seen a humpback whale go by, and we tried calling for help. And it was afternoon, maybe late afternoon, and the team was up in Los Angeles, and there was a team in San Diego, but there wasn't a team here to come. And you know, it's not like these are volunteers. They're just, it's not like they're sitting there waiting at the ready and like they just be here in a moment. So they really need notice earlier in the day. They need hours to get it together and get out on the water. They need at least a few hours to be able to work on the animal. So it was heartbreaking to see this entangled humpback take off. And what we learned right about the same time was that, and this is shocking, but that nearly 1,000 dolphins and whales are actually dying because of entanglement in fishing gear and nets every day around the world. And so some of those are ghost nets, some of those are active nets. We're not saying fishermen are bad. It is just the nature of the activity. There's bycatch. And so these animals are getting entangled. It wasn't intended, but it's happening. And so we do see them here. And so at that time, Dave lobbied with NOAA, and he said, can we get a training program going down here in Orange County? And then together with the Pacific Marine Mammal Institute, which focuses on pinnipeds, we were able to start pulling things together. So it was ordering equipment, getting the right kind of Zodiac, getting the training, having, you know, world-renowned experts come and show us how to do it. Because you can't just jump in the water with a knife in your mouth and, you know, do some kind of, you can't do that. You're gonna die. You know, you're not absolutely gonna die, but the odds are high you're gonna get hurt. That's not the way to do it. And so we got a great team trained. San Diego, the San Diego team, which is actually out of SeaWorld, they have been phenomenal with loaning equipment, with coming up to support. And there's a tier process to the whole entanglement in terms of training, experience, etc. They have a level 4. There's level 4 up in Los Angeles. So there's actually a training going on tomorrow right here in Dana Point, an on the water training. And then there's a classroom training that will be taking place in the next month or so for people who want to start learning how to do that. And so they go through a classroom training, and then once they do that, that qualifies them to then get on a boat and get trained. So we just had a really successful, probably a fourth of all disentanglements are successful.
Oh, wow.
There's all kinds of reasons for that. You know, if a whale has just been entangled and it's not starving and it's got a lot of energy, the odds of yours being successful are really small, because that animal is not going to be happy with you coming on over and wanting to come alongside. It's hurting. It's frustrated, it's irritated, and it doesn't want anything to do with you.
And a lot of times, like so if we come across a whale that is entangled or in need of assistance, we have to call it in. So Gisele and I and all of our captains and all of our crews, they know right away, because they have unfortunately seen entanglements. And so they know what to look for. They know the behaviors. They call it in. We call it straight into Justin at NOAA. And he kind of tells us what the next steps are, if they're going to send a team down, or like she's saying, like, what does the whale look like? Like, what can they really do if they come down? And then a lot of times, unfortunately, we have to track the whale, and you can track it only till it's dark. And then those dark hours are when, but we have teams all the way up and down the coast. So people know that the whale is coming. So NOAA will tell us, hey, we saw one in San Diego, which is an hour to our south. And then the next day, Gisele and I's boats might be able to encounter, and then we call it in, and then they assist with the rescue, and we assist. And so it's great. It's gotten so much better.
Oh, it's been amazing. I was just going to share, in July, there was a whale who had been entangled for probably quite some time. You could tell by the amount of whale lice on it, and it was tired. So it wasn't moving as quickly. And it was one of those perfect things. Donna's boat saw it first. Her captain saw it first. He alerted the other boats. First of all, we want to, make sure that there's not, that everyone knows it's there and no one goes too close. And then NOAA was notified. And then we took turns watching the whale. So no one, the instructions are, no one leaves this whale alone at all. And it's not going to be abandoned. So we keep eyes on it. We take pictures. We send them over to NOAA. And then they, like Donna said, they'll instruct us on the next steps. And it was so textbook, because the team got together. The 2 primary boats came. We had 3 support boats. We had our towboats US, as well as our Harbor Patrol, creating like a wide area around the whales, so that private boaters and paddleboarders, no one was coming near it. I mean, the communication was amazing. And the team was able to get out there. The support boats were there with all the equipment, and it was incredible. And this particular whale had, I don't know, 100 or so feet of net around its flukes, and it was really quite difficult to cut. And they thought, there's just no way we're going to do it before dark, but we'll give it the old college try. And they did. And that whale was tired. And so he let them get right up on its tail. And within 2 hours, the cuts had been made, and they finally got like that one pivotal cut, and the whole thing just fell off. And, everyone's on all of the boats. There were like 12 boats out there watching, and everyone's screaming, and, it was great. I took video, and I sound like a fool because but it was just
incredible.
Really cool. And to see that whale. So hopefully that whale was able to start feeding and recovering and healing. And we do see whales that, Donna's vessels have seen Twitch, another famous humpback who was definitely the victim of an entanglement. No one knows how it got free. He was here one summer, and he was great and healthy, and everything was great. And then when he came back the next summer, he had just this deepest wound on him from what was obviously an entanglement. And but he recovered, and throughout that summer he came back, and he was feeding, and it was just such a joyful thing to see him survive it and thrive.
And come back to Dana Point, the dolphin and whale watching capital of the world.
Yes.
Beautiful. I know for me, one of the things that stuck out, I'm in New Zealand, and I went to one of the Project Jonah workshops. And one of the things they have are like not like a balloon, but they fill it with water instead. So it's like a pilot whale filled with water. And one of the things that really struck me was how dangerous it actually is to be around this animal on shore, but then also in the water. It's a very strong animal. And this is one of the smaller ones, right? So you're not even talking about humpback size. So the idea, you know, when we see the videos, they seem so gentle and they are, but it doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of strength.
Right.
So,
especially when they're, you know, when you think about like a polypropylene line, it's very rough and it's cutting into their skin, and that's got to be just awful. And so, you know, they're having a bad day, and maybe they've had a bad month or two. And so you just have to be really careful. You can't just, you know, a lot of people will say, did you get in the water with them? No,
Yes.
you do not want to do that. You do not want to do that. So,
well, I can't thank the two of you enough for joining us at the World Cetacean Alliance and sharing with us your incredible stories about Dana Point. If you're interested watching live or watching the recording, and you're interested in connecting or becoming a partner with the WCA, please feel free to go ahead and go to our website and learn more about us, as well as we'll have in the comments here links to both Donna and Gisele's groups, We'll Watch tours. And we'll be super excited to hear more from you later on. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we go?
Oh my gosh. Just thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for having us on and featuring Dana Point. We're so excited to be here on your world tour.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
And thanks to World Cetacean Alliance, and thank you, World Animal Protection, too, for just making it all come together.
Yes, for the promotion.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good night.